day, we are still trying to sort out the groups. It's a little bit trickier this semester compared to last semester, because last semester, when we started online, everybody was already in their groups. So there wasn't that much of a hassle. So we are still trying to sort out the groups. I think last week, some of you I may have added, then I removed because groups were swapped. So I don't know, maybe later on during the course of the week, the groups will be shuffled again. So please bear with us. I hope by now you have all had a chance to go through the lecture that I posted I put it on YouTube. I like putting things on YouTube because YouTube never shuts down. So even on days when e-learning is down, YouTube is always up and running. And the good thing about YouTube is if you have the app, you can always download the video into the app without actually taking memory from your phone. And then after you've watched it, whenever you have time to watch it, then you can delete it. So that's a good thing about YouTube as well. Okay, so before we look at the exercise that I gave you that we are going to do just now, do we have any questions, comments?
Yes, ma'am. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Okay. I just recently joined your class now, as well as on the WhatsApp group. Would anyone care to share the link to your YouTube video so I can watch it, or the rest of us who just joined can watch it as well?
Okay, I'm not sure, but can you not see everything I posted on the Teams page before you joined?
I'm gonna quickly check.
Like,
I'll confirm now.
okay, yeah, right. So just scroll up and see if you can see the stuff that I put there already.
Okay, I see it's there. Thank you so much,
Okay,
ma'am.
all right. Okay, so everything that I share, I will put it there as well as on the WhatsApp group. So you may join the WhatsApp group if you want to. It's not a must. Most of everything that we do will be right here on Teams. Okay, so if you don't have WhatsApp, don't worry, it's fine. Are there any other questions before we get started? Okay, can you guys all see my screen with this exercise that I gave you to do?
We can see it, ma'am.
Okay. We got some definitions that are very key that we will be using throughout the course, so you know them. The first one is population, a group that you are interested in. Population is not just people; it can be population of cars, population of okay, and a sample is simply just a part of that population. So it's important when you're reading information given that you're able to and looking at the scenario, what is the population that I'm looking at? Because the population of in any given scenario is not just everything or everybody. So if my interest is on NUST students, like I've been saying a lot today, my population is just NUST students, not everybody in Windhoek, not everybody in Namibia, not everybody in Africa. It is limited to that scenario. So it's always important to read the information carefully and then try and understand what are we looking for. And then from there, you'll be able to tell what the population and what the sample is. Okay. So I hope you tried some of these questions. They're not too difficult. Let's go over them together. The first one, for each statement, identify whether the number underlined are statistics or parameters. Now remember, statistics, that is a measurement or a value that we have that relates to. Okay, so if you have an average from a sample that you collected, that would be if you have an average that you got from including everybody, all the NUS students, then that is a parameter. So a statistic, you get that from your sample, and your parameter, you get that from the population. Now, A, of all Namibian kindergarten teachers, 32% say that knowing the alphabet is an essential skill. So can somebody tell me this 32%, is that a statistic or a parameter? What did you guys say?
I would say
Don't be
statistics.
shy. A statistic, why is that?
Part of, say it's only part of the population.
Is that right? What do the rest of you guys think? Is he right? He's saying that this 32% that we have over here represents a statistic as opposed to being a parameter. Is that right? Are people shy or what's happening?
Right?
Yeah, go ahead. Okay, this 32% is actually a parameter and not a statistic. Now, the reason it is a parameter kindergarten teachers. Okay, so all of them, you have asked all of them, and from what they have said, 32% of them say that knowing the alphabet is an essential skill. So this 32% represents a parameter. It is not a statistic. Okay, let's contrast that with B. It says of the 800 Namibian kindergarten teachers polled, 34% say that no alphabet is an essential skill. Now, 34%, is this a parameter or is that a statistic? What did you guys say? But did you guys even do this exercise or look at it? Okay.
I'm looking at the questions now. So, but I
Sorry?
would assume, I would think that since the first one I got wrong, saying that statistic, then I would guess that the 34 would be therefore also a statistics rather than a parameter.
Okay, that is actually correct. Now, this 34% over here is a statistic. The reason it is a statistic is, where did we get this 34%? We got this 34% by interviewing, polling. So you can see over here, polling. They were polled we polled 800 Namibian kindergarten teachers. Now, this population of Namibian kindergarten teachers. So that is why this 34% is a statistic. So it is a statistic because it is a sample as opposed to a population. Now this 30 here is 32%. We said it is a statistic. Why? Because it's information about all Namibian kindergarten teachers. So it looked at the entire population, then we came up with the 32%. So it came from the population. And this 34% over here, it came from interviewing, polling these 800 Namibian kindergarten teachers. Okay, so this 800 is a sample. We get a value from analyzing the sample, so it means that this 34% is a statistic. Okay, then number two, of the Namibian adult population, 36% has an allergy. A sample of 1,200 randomly selected adults resulted in 33.2% reporting an allergy. Question, who is the population? I need you guys to please participate. So I know it's not just me and the guy who's been answering all these questions. I wish I could see your names. I just see student numbers.
My name is John M. The population for this would be the Namibian adult population.
Okay. What do the rest of you think? Is that right?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Yes, that is right. So we look at the scenario. What are we looking at, or who are we I think the clue is in the statement. Yeah,
I'm sorry to
go ahead.
bother. Sure. I'm not sure if it's our audio or my audio, but it cuts out when you speak, so I don't get everything.
Okay, is that everybody? I don't know if it's my microphone that's not working.
I'm also experiencing the same thing, ma'am.
Is it continuously cutting, or how is it? I don't know. So I just, my earphones, only one. Yep.
No, it seems like your sentences are full, and then halfway through, that's the middle of the next sentence, then it would just cut off for a couple of seconds.
Oh dear. Okay, I don't know what's happening. It might be my mic, because with my earphones working now, so I don't know if that's affected the mic as well. But the next class I'll try and get new headsets if that is the problem. Okay, so here, what is the sample? Can somebody tell me what is the sample?
And the sample would therefore be the 1,200 randomly selected adults.
Okay, exactly. So here it even says so in the question. It says a sample of 1,200 randomly selected adults. So these 1,200 adults that you interviewed, those would form your sample. Now here it says identify the statistic and give its value. What is the statistic here? So if you remember in the lecture, I gave some statistics and some parameters. There was the mean, the variance, standard deviation. What statistic do you think we are looking at here?
And would this be 0.2% of the sample station?
Okay, the 30. Let me see if I have the 33.2%. Yes, that is the statistic, but what is it? Here it says identify it and then give its value. So you can see there's two parts to it. Its value would obviously be this 33.2, but now that when it says identify it, how would we identify it? Because there's two parts of this question. It says identify the statistic and then give its value. So its value will be 33.2. That's correct. Yeah.
I attempted. If we take 1,200 and they said that 32 of that, so multiply that by 0.32, that gives us 384. So we'll multiply 384 by 0.382 to give us the answer. And I have 127.48, but since we can't have half an adult, I'm going to round it up to 128.
Okay, 128. Not quite. Not quite. Okay, so I think it's maybe because you didn't watch the video. I know you just. That's okay. In the video, I talked about the different statistics and parameters that we have. The first one and the most commonly used is the mean or the average. That is a statistic and it can be a parameter. So we know how to work out the mean and the average. You add all the values together and then you divide by how many you have. Okay, now this is definitely not the average because an allergy, I don't know what an average allergy would be. So this is definitely not an average, isn't it? It's not. So this is 36%. So this is like grouping. So we can say 36% have an allergy and then that is 64% do not have an allergy. This is talking about proportions. Okay, so that is one of the statistics that I mentioned. So we can give information about a population or a sample. One of the pieces of information that we can give is average variance. We can give the size. This proportion. So remember that table. So you can go watch the video again. You will see that table that I gave you. That on that table we have the proportion. So proportion is a parameter because when I have this 33.2%, I know that in my sample 33.2% have an allergy or they reported that they have an allergy and the rest do not. So you can see I've partitioned my group. So when you have a partition, then you the statistic or the parameter that should come to mind is the proportion. Okay, so we identify the value would be this one, not the 36, because the 36 comes from the population and statistics come from the sample. So S for statistic, S for sample, P for population, P for parameter. Okay, so then obviously here our parameter is also a proportion because it's 36% of a whole. So our parameter is also a proportion and its value rather is 36%. Okay, so remember from the table how we denote our statistics and parameter. For statistic proportion, we use p hat, and for parameter, we just use p. Okay, so refer to that table to see how we denote our statistics and parameters. Is that fine?
Yes, ma'am. Thank you. I'll review the video tonight.
Okay. Then number 3, in your own words, explain why the parameter is fixed and the statistic varies. Does somebody want to try that? Why do you think a parameter is fixed and a statistic may vary?
Okay. I would say the reason why I would say that the parameter is fixed, like you said, it's linked to the population. So that means you already know the set of which you are looking. Whereas statistics, simply because it varies, you are looking at specific um, subsets, if I could call it subset, or sets within population.
Right. So in a population, the Namibian population, if there is 51% male and 99% female, that is fixed. There is no way it can change because whenever you look at the entire population of Namibia, that is what you will get. But a sample may vary because one person might pick a sample of 100 people from Windhoek, another person will pick a sample 100 people from Rehoboth, and in that picking of the sample, you have different people, obviously, and one might show it's 50-50, 50% male, 50% female, and another one might show 60% female, 40% male. So a sample can differ because it is just a subset, like John said, of the entire population, whereas the population is fixed, it does not change. Number 4, select 90 students enrolled at NUST and ask how many years they've attended the university, how old they are, and if they live on campus. What is the population and what is the sample? So here, if we're selecting 90 students that are enrolled at NUST, our population would then be all the students that are enrolled at NUST, and then our sample is these 90 students that are currently enrolled. So the 90 students that you picked. So this is my sample. Where am I, or what am I picking them out of? I'm picking them out of the entire pool of NUS students. So all NUS students, that is my population that are currently enrolled. And then my sample is these 90 students that I have picked. So you may word it differently. I will want to see this 90 students there, and then population over here. It should closely resemble what I have said. Then number 5, suppose a 12-year-old asked you to explain the difference between a sample and a population. How would you explain it to him or her? How might you explain why you would take a sample rather than surveying every member of the population? So this question here, I think everybody can answer it in their own way. The reason we ask questions like this is to check, do you actually understand what we have talked about? Because when we ask students, can you explain something, you hear the most technical, the most advanced explanations ever, which is not bad, but you should be able to explain something in a way that somebody who's not in your field can understand it. So that one, I will leave it to you guys. So the reason we say 12-year-old, put it as simply as possible, or as simple as possible. Okay, and then here, why would you survey instead, why would you take a sample instead of surveying every member of the population? Because that is an important question. Like I was saying with the population of Namibians, if somebody took a sample from Windhoek and another person took one from Rehoboth, let's say the Windhoek one showed it's 50-50, male and female, then the one from Rehoboth showed 60-40. So somebody would say the population is closer to 50-50, the one you got in Windhoek, but when you went to Rehoboth, you got 60-40, which is pretty far from reality. So I think I explained it in the video why we survey, why we take a sample instead of every member of the population. So again, this one I'll leave to you guys to do. Then number 6 as well, in your own words, explain the difference between a statistic and a parameter. So you should be able to explain a statistic and a parameter. And all of the statistics that we have, the mean, the variance, the standard deviation, you should be able to say what each of them are. Okay, let's do just one more. I think you guys have a class after this. A study reveals that there are exactly 100 members of parliament and 55% of them are members of the ruling party. Do the data comprise a sample or a population? I want to hear from you guys regarding A and B. Or population, and do the results represent a statistic or a parameter? So how would you answer A and B? Do we have any ideas?
Hi, ma'am. It's me again.
Yes, go ahead.
Um, if it says that a study shows that or reveals that there are exactly 100 members of parliament, I would say that that is the population. Okay, that is what we are, the data that we are looking at the moment. And then 55% of them are members of the ruling party. Um, wouldn't that be therefore a parameter? Uh, I'm not sure.
Okay. Anybody else who wants to chime in? Is he right? Is this a population or is it a parameter? It says that there are exactly 100 members of parliament. Does that represent a population or a sample? And this 55%, is this a statistic or is it a parameter? Now, one thing we should know is A and B are linked. If what we're talking about is a sample, then B must be a statistic. If what we're talking about is a population, then B must be a parameter because the two go together. S is for sample, S is for statistic. P for population, P for parameter. Okay? Or just the way this question is phrased. So anybody else who thinks maybe this is a sample? I'm not saying it's not a sample. Is it just me and John in class today?
Maybe they're shy.
Why? It's online. This is a place not to be shy. Okay, so John is correct when he said that this 100 members of parliament is a population. So it is a population because that is it. So when you talk about members of parliament, there is only these 100. Okay, there isn't any other member of parliament somewhere out there that that is a member of parliament. There is exactly 100 of them. Okay, so this 100 members of parliament, that is a population. So when you're talking about the total number under consideration, or everything that is under consideration, then you have a population. And like I said, A and B are linked because this is information that comes from a population. So if we'd say that this 100 is a sample, then this 55% would be a statistic. But we've said that this 100 is a population because that is all of them. Therefore, this 55% is a parameter. Okay, I just want to quickly find out, do the rest of you have a class now, or can we finish off the 2 questions?
Sorry, ma'am. Let me quickly check the other teams, please.
Okay, does anybody else have a class now? So we just stop and then we'll continue on Wednesday, or are you?
Yes, ma'am. I do have a now.
Okay. All right, then we will just stop here for now. So remember, I posted the video to the lecture on the Teams page. Please make sure you watch it. The same thing will happen on Wednesday. Before the class, I will have the video there for you, and then there will be another exercise. So it's very important that you watch it and then try the questions yourself. So the reason I put up these questions is to test, do you actually understand what happened in what I talked about in the video? Okay, any questions before we go?
From my side, I think that's it, ma'am. Thank you so much. See you.
Okay.
Ma'am, I just have a question on
Yes.
Wednesday. Is the class at
Yes.
6:15 or 8?
It's 1840. So 1840 to maybe, I think we'll start maybe like 7:30. But 1840, if you haven't watched the video already, then use that time to watch it.
All right.
Okay. Any other questions? Okay, so I will post this on